Hi, good day and welcome to the June 2021 crash course, and today we're going to go straight into it. And the first question that we're going to see today is a quadratics question. So let's get started. So in this question, they told us that the area of the rectangle over there is 30 centimeters squared. I'm just checking to make sure it's recorded. So the area is 30 centimeters squared, and they want us to determine the value of x. First things first, how do you find the area of a rectangle? Well, the area of a rectangle is pretty simple. It's just length by breadth. This is our length and this is our breadth. So let's multiply the length by the breadth and then put it equal to our area. So our length is 2x plus 4. Now we have to make sure and put this in brackets because we want to multiply the whole length by the breadth, and the breadth is just simply x. So we have our length, we have our breadth, and if we multiply this out, we are supposed to get the area. Now the examiner was kind enough to give us the area, which is 30. So all we need to do is multiply out the brackets, expand the brackets, and we will get 2x squared plus 4x. You notice I multiply everyone inside here by the x. And some students may forget that x by another x is x squared. Now this will be equal to 30. At first glance, you will notice that this is a quadratic because we have an x squared, an x, and something without an x. However, to solve a quadratic, I would advise that you throw everyone on the same side first. So we have 2x squared plus 4x, and when you throw across the positive 30, you can expect to get minus 30. And this is now equal to 0. To solve the quadratic, we need to quickly identify a, b, and c. The number touching x squared is a, the number touching x is b, and the number without x is c. You notice c is not 30, but minus 30. So let's solve this quadratic using the quadratic formula. So I have a scrap sheet here. So I'm going to just make a note of how much is A. A is 2, B is 4, and C is minus 30. So let's go to the scrap sheet here. I already laid out the formula. So I kind of a little blank format just to put in the numbers. So according to this, B is supposed to be, I'm making sure, 4. So I'm going to replace the B with 4. Everywhere there's a B, I'm going to replace it with 4. Minus 4ac. If I recall, A was 2 and C was minus 30. Alright, so let me zoom in here a little bit, right? Make it easier on me. Let me erase this. Multiply by 2 and C was minus 30. What we need to do, I always work out the piece underneath the square root first. So let me go to my calculator. I'm not pressing the square root. I'm just working out the piece underneath the square root. Open brackets, 4 close brackets squared minus open brackets 4 by 2 multiply by minus 30. You notice which button I'm using here. This button there. Minus 30 close brackets, and then I press equal, and when I do that, underneath the square root I get 256, and let's not forget this 4 here. So we have minus 4 plus or minus the square root of 256. How much is the square root of 256? Well, that gives us 16. And we are dividing everything by 2a. So I forgot something here. Remember, a is how much in this question? A is 2. So 2 by 2. 2 by 2 is 4. So I'm supposed to have a 4 underneath here. So let's simplify this quickly. It's minus 4 plus or minus 16 divided by 4. That will give me my first answer. Then we say minus 4 minus 16, and then we divide it by 4. So let's work this out, and let's work this out quickly. Minus 4 plus 16. Now, when I work that out, I'm going to press equal and then divide by 4. When I do that, I get 3. So my first value of x is 3. Let's move on to the next one. Minus 4 minus 16, press equal, then divide by the 4. And over here we get minus 5. So this is our second value for x. Now, we got 2 values for x, but we're only going to choose the positive value. Why? Because x is a part of a length. A length cannot be a minus. So our final answer for x is 4 centimeters. Alright, now when I'm doing this video, I'm going to assume that you have a fairly okay understanding of the quadratic formula. Right, so that's why I'll be using this format quickly and quickly work it out, the quadratic. If of course you don't have a background in quadratics, I would advise that you look at a few YouTube videos first on how to solve quadratic equations, and of course let's build a solid base in quadratics and then come back to this video. So that was question 8. Let's move on to the next question. In this question, they told us that the area of the triangle is 120. They want us to determine the perimeter of the triangle correct to the nearest millimeter. Alright, so let's just find x. First, work out everything in centimeters, and then we will convert everything to millimeters. Let's not let the millimeters get to us. How do you find the area of a triangle? Base by vertical height divided by 2 will give us the area of the triangle. We have the base. The base is 2x plus 2. I'm going to put that in brackets. Multiplied by the vertical height. The vertical height is 2x. Then we divide it by 2. Now, if we do this, we're supposed to get the area, which is 120. Once again, guys, don't forget the brackets. The whole base has to get multiplied by the whole vertical height. So this 2x plus 2, please remember to put it in brackets. So let's just simplify this. Everyone inside here gets multiplied by 2x. 2x by 2x is 4x squared. 2 by 2x is just 4x. The whole thing is divided by 2, and this is equal to 120. Let's just quickly cross multiply. Doesn't matter which diagonal we cross multiply first. I'm going to do this one first. So 4x squared plus 4 multiplied by 1. Well, anything multiplied by 1 is itself. Put the equal sign. 120 by 2, I believe, is 240. This is clearly a quadratic again. Throw everyone on the same side when we're solving a quadratic. So we have 4x squared plus 4x minus 240. And this whole thing is equal to 0. So let's quickly identify A, B, and C. A is 4, B is 4 again, and C is minus 240. So it's 4, 4, and minus 240. Let's go to the quadratic formula again and substitute in the values. So B is 4, so anywhere we see a B, put a 4. A is 4, but C, if I'm not mistaken, is minus 240. So I'm going to have to squeeze this in here. Let me zoom in here so how it won't look too bad. minus 240. And A is 4. So let's work out this piece here underneath the square root sign quickly. Open brackets, 4, close brackets, squared, minus open brackets, 4 by 4 by minus 240. Close brackets, press equal. And underneath here, I get 3856. Don't forget I have a 4 here. And 2 by 4 is 8. Let's square root the 3856. So, square root of 3856 is 62 point, well, if we round that off, we'll get 62.10. And we have a 4 here, and we have an 8 here. And let's double checking something. Right, 4 minus 240, we didn't do anything too wrong. Nope, it's correct. So, let's work out this now. Well, we have to work out minus 4 plus 62.10 divided by 8. Then minus 4 minus the 62.10 also divided by 8. Minus 4 plus 62.10, press equal, divided by 8. Our first answer seems to be 7.26. The other one I suspect is going to give us a minus answer. Minus 4 minus 62.10, press equal, divided by 8. We're going to get minus 8.26. Now, this is the value of x, and this is also the value of x. But once again, x is part of a length. I really suggest we only take the positive value. So we're going to take this here, 7.26 as x. So what we have to do now, anywhere we see an x, we have to replace it with the value we chose, 7.26. So we're going to replace this x here with 7.26. Sorry for the small writing. Let's zoom in here a little bit. Right? And we have to replace this x with 7.26. It's 6? Yep, it's 6. I put 7 here by mistake. Let me just erase it. 7.26. So let's work out this length here and then this length. 2, we clear this good. 2 multiplied by 7.26, press equal, plus 2. So this side here is 16.52 centimeters. And over here is just 2 multiplied by 7.26. So over here would be 14.52. Alright? Now look at the question properly. They want us to find the perimeter. So we know the length of two sides. To get the perimeter, we need the length of this side. It's a right angle triangle. We can just quickly use Pythagoras Theorem to find the length of this side. To find the hypotenuse squared is equal to the length of this side squared plus the length of this side squared. So we just have to take the 14.52 squared plus the 16.52 squared, work this out, and then square root our answer. So I'm going to do this quite quickly in our calculator. So we have 14.52 squared plus 16.52 squared. Press equal. So hypotenuse squared is equal to around 483.74. To get the hypotenuse, we need to square root that answer. So we're going to square root this. Square root 483.74, and we get, well, 21.99. So the length of this side here is 21.99. To get the perimeter, obviously we have to add up the length of all three sides. 1, 2, and 3. So let's get the perimeter. Let's go to put peri. 21.99 plus 16.52 plus 14.52, and we get 53.03 centimeters. Now, to convert our answer to millimeters, remember there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter, so we have to multiply this by 10. So we'll get 530.3 millimeters, but they set to the nearest millimeter, so they want a whole number here. So this is 530 millimeters. Alright guys, so that's the answer for that one. Oh, that was quite a long question. Alright, that's B there. And once again guys, if you're from Trinidad and Tobago and you need extra lessons in any of these subjects, my number can be found in the description below. Alright, so here we have to complete a table for a quadratic. They gave us all the x values and a few of the y values are missing. To figure out this value here, all we have to do is, you notice the value of x is minus 1. We just have to replace all the x's here with minus 1. So let me write this twice here. Y is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 3. You'll see why I'm writing it twice just now. Y is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 3. To figure out this value of y here, we just have to replace all the x's here with minus 1. So I'm going to replace all the x's here with minus 1. Let's just quickly work this out on our calculator. Calculator is doing all the hard work. Open brackets, minus 1, close brackets, squared, minus 4, multiply by open brackets, minus 1, close brackets, plus 3. And I get 8. So that means this value of y here is supposed to be 8. Now to figure out this value of y, look at the value of x above. We just have to replace x with that value, which is 2. So throw away this x, put 2 squared minus 4, x is 2 plus 3. Let's work this out once again. Open brackets, 2, close brackets, squared, minus 4, multiply by open brackets, 2, close brackets, plus 3. And I get minus 1. So over here, it's supposed to be minus 1. Oh, and there's another one to do here. So all I have to do now is go and replace all the x's here with 4. So I think you all got the hang of this. Open brackets 4 squared minus 4 open brackets 4 plus 3. Let's work that out. Right. Oh, I wrote that kind of bad there. That's supposed to be a positive sign. Give me a few seconds here. Alright, let's throw it into the calculator and see what happens. Open brackets 4, close brackets squared, minus 4, multiply by open brackets 4, close brackets, plus 3. And I get 3. So this value here has to be 3. All they want us to do now is just draw the graph. So we just have to plot the point, guys. It doesn't get easier than this. So the first point, let's go through it one by one. Let me get a ticker point here. Alright. Minus 1, 8. Minus 1 and we go up to 8. Next one is 0, 2. 1 minus 1. That's down here. Then 2 minus 1, 2. minus 1. The next one is 3 minus. Something is wrong here. Something is wrong here. We have 3 minus 1s. Something could be wrong here. 1 second, guys. Alright, so I think I figured out the mistake. It's not a mistake on my part. The exam, whoever set this question up, this was supposed to be 0. They made a mistake. Alright, it's not a small mistake, no big mistake. Right, so we just need to replot that point. Right. At 1, it's supposed to be 0. So it's supposed to be on the x-axis. 3 is minus 1. 4 is 3. 5 is 7. So this is a quadratic curve. Now it's hard for me to draw a kind of curve because I'm using this writing pad. But if you were to join it up, you have to join it up freehand. Try to make it look like a smooth curve. Right? Obviously you guys will do a much better job than me there. But that over there is the curve. The quadratic curve. Right? Doesn't look too pretty, but what you're gonna do. Alright guys, so that's the end of that question. Right? It was just a matter of just simply replacing the values into the equation, and your calculator will be doing the hard work, and then you just plot the points. Standard question in the exam. Alright, next questions of a function question. I love these questions. The first question wants us to find f3. We just have to go to this equation here, and any x we see, replace it with 3 in brackets. Super easy. 3 by 3 is 9. 9 minus 5 is 4. That's the answer for the first one. F minus 2 means you go to the same equation, replace any x you see with minus 2. 3 by minus 2 is minus 6. Minus 6 minus 5 is minus 11. The next one, you notice the 1, fx is equal to 1. The 1 is not inside the brackets. In fact, the 1 is on the other side of the equal sign. So what you need to do is take fx and replace it with 3x minus 5. And then put it equal to 1. To solve for x, you just throw across minus 5, you get positive 5. So 3x is equal to 6. That means x is 2. Because if you throw across the 3, which is a multiply, you're going to get a divide. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And that's the end of that question. Next one. Okay. Here they gave you a quadratic, right? So let me zoom in here a little bit. Right, I guess today there's a lot of quadratic questions. In part 1, they basically want you to express it in vertex form. So A is 2, B is 2, and C, make sure you understand C is minus 12. So we know A is 2. To calculate H, we have to use the formula B divided by 2A. To calculate K, we have to use the formula 4AC minus open brackets B squared, and the whole thing is divided by 4A. So let's go ahead. B is how much? Well, let's work out. Let's work it out right here. B is 2. 2 is part of the formula underneath, and A is our next 2. So 2 by 2 is 4. 1 divided by 4 is 0.5. So we know the value of H is 0.5. I'll write in everything neatly on the side here. To find K, we have to take 4. A is how much? 2. C is minus 12 minus open brackets. B is 2, close brackets, and then square it. And then we divide the whole thing by 4A. And we know A is 2. Go to the calculator. When I'm working on the top, I have to make sure I press equal before I divide by the underneath. Now 4 by 2 is 8. So I'm just going to do that piece in my head. So let's work out the top. 4 by 2 by minus 12 minus, well, open brackets 2 close brackets squared. So when we work out the top, we get minus 100 divided by 8, because 4 by 2 is 8. So over here we get minus 12.5. So that's our value of k. So let's write our final answer. A is 2, open brackets, x plus h is how much? 0.5, and k is minus 12.5. And that's our final answer. We have just expressed this quadratic in what we call vertex form. Next, they want to know where this quadratic would cut the x-axis. So whenever they're asking you where a quadratic cuts the x-axis, they're really asking you to solve the quadratic. And we solved a couple quadratics earlier today, but let us go through it again. In this quadratic, A is 2, B is 2, and C is minus 12. Okay? Now I just want to point out something. Whenever they ask you where it cuts the x-axis, they could say, hey, where does it cut the x-axis? But they could also ask you to find the roots. Or they could say, solve the quadratic. Roots, solving, and finding out where it cuts the x-axis is the same exact question. And to do that, you can just use the quadratic formula. So I have another one here. So just recall, A was 2, I believe, B was 2, and C was minus 12. Let me just double check that to make sure. Yep, 2, 2, minus 12. Let's just throw it into the formula. B is 2. Anywhere we see a B, we replace it with 2. A is how much? 2. And C is minus 12. And A is how much? 2. Work out the piece underneath the square root. That should be pretty easy. Open brackets, 2, close brackets, squared, minus, open brackets, 4 by 2 by minus 12, close brackets. So we're going to get 100 here. And we have minus 2 here, and 2 by 2 is 4. So we have minus 2 here. The square root of 100, but that's 10. We don't need a calculator for that. So now we have minus 2 plus or minus 10 divided by 4. Then minus 2 minus 10 divided by 4. Minus 2 plus 10 is 8. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Minus 2 minus 10 is minus 12. Minus 12 divided by 4 is minus 3. So it will cut the x-axis at 2 and minus 3. So they'd have two answers here. It cuts the x-axis at 2 and minus 3. Great. They want to know where it cuts the y-axis. A quadratic, where it cuts the y-axis is actually C. There's no big set of working. You just have to look for C, and that will tell you where it cuts the y-axis. So it will cut the y-axis at minus 12. When they want you to find the turning point, all right, to find the turning point, all you need to do, well, there is a formula right now, but a turning point must have an x coordinate and a y coordinate. To get the x coordinate and the y coordinate is real easy. We actually kind of did it already. Remember when we did vertex form? We ended up with a number inside the brackets. Let me just circle it, right? Let me put it in green. Remember, we ended up with a number inside the brackets with the x. The x coordinate of the turning point is the opposite of that number. So in the brackets is positive 0.5. So that means the x coordinate is minus 0.5. We take the opposite of that number. That's our x coordinate. To get the y coordinate of the turning point, we look at the number outside the brackets. The second answer. This is the y coordinate, but we don't make this one the opposite. The one inside the brackets, we make the opposite. The one outside the brackets, we leave it as it is. So if it's a minus, you leave it as a minus. So down here, it will be minus 12.5. Also, all quadratics either have a kind of U shape or a kind of common N shape, like the rainbow shape. Anytime A is positive, we will get the kind of U shape. Anytime A is a minus, you will get the rainbow shape. Just to recall, A in today's question is positive 2. That's a positive number. So that means when we sketch it, it will look like this. Now I'm going to switch the screen. So I need you to write down a few things. Look at this. We know where it cuts the x-axis at 2 and minus 3. So write that down. I'm sure some of you were taking notes. We know where it cuts the y-axis. That's minus 12. Take that down. We know the lowest point, the turning point, because if it's a U-shaped graph, it will have a lowest point, and that's the coordinates of the lowest point there, right? This is the coordinates of the lowest point, and we know it's a U-shaped graph. I already sketched the graph using an online program, so this is what we will get. Because in the last part of the question, and just in case you didn't see, they're asking us to sketch the quadratic. And look at it. It cuts the x-axis at 2 and minus 3. Look at it, right? It cuts the y-axis at minus 12. If here's minus 10, then here's minus 11, and here's minus 12. And here's the lowest point, minus a half, and we go down to minus 12.5. We would plot all the black points and then try to draw a curve going through all 4 points for the examiner. Right? So take a good look at that graph and then go back and compare it to the answers we just got, and you realize, wait, no, it does match up. Okay? Right, so that's the answer for that one. What's next? Oh, that's the end of video 8. Alright guys, so I really hope this was helpful, and guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and of course, please don't forget to leave comments below. Take care guys, and have a good one.